James Clem, how you doing, man? Friday night. It's late for you. You doing? Oh, you got a haircut, man. You're looking
Yeah,
hot.
it made me feel different. In fact, getting that haircut actually boosted me emotionally. I didn't know that was going to happen. How about you?
What?
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I worked in the office all day today, and made
Yeah.
some videos and worked a lot on this. In fact, I got a video of my office coming up here in just a second. It's pretty cool.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're about ready to get back to work, you slacker.
I know. Sometimes you got to slack, but it goes along with my age.
Yeah. No. What is
How?
what's happening in California right now?
Well, it's hard to know. I do know we can do what we call preventive work, and at least we're getting set up for that, and we're ready to go. We have some days that are ready to go for that next week. We have our office ready to go, our protocols ready to go, our flow ready to go, my team, they're up and going. We're ready. I had fun today, though, and yesterday. I did my 2-day anterior aesthetic case on Zoom, and
Nice.
it was a lot of fun. I learned how to love the screen,
Nice.
and
I bet you're good
it
at it.
actually worked quite well.
Yeah.
It's it's not the same as being live, but it was a way to connect with people.
Sure.
And what I did with it is those that were going to come, we gave them a voucher to come back for a live class because I'm really into the hands-on for finishing ceramics.
Of course.
But they were able to get 12 units of CE, and in addition they'll get the other one. So and it was good for me. I was lonely. I needed to connect. It was a fun day.
Man.
I feel energized.
James, you are loved. Everybody out there watching right now that loves James Clem, you got to give him some hearts right now. This guy needs some
hearts.
love. Yes, he does.
Got it.
Hey, there we go. They're coming right now. We'll bring up our guests here in a minute, but what I'd like everybody to do is check out our new Facebook page, The Dental Show Live.
Yeah.
We are really excited about this new endeavor that James Clem and I have got together. We've had some amazing interviews, and we want all people in dentistry to be a part of this. It's just it's a great profession that we're a part of, and we're doing the best we can to highlight it. And so, James, we've got a new little segue, or not a segue, but a segment in our show, and it's called "Show Us Your Office." And
it's a special one tonight. I heard it's outstanding.
Yeah, tell it is outstanding. Tell everybody what we're trying to do with Show Us Your Office.
Show us your offices. So what we want to do is highlight our colleagues, what they're doing in their office, something that's interesting about their office, so we can get ideas. I've actually received ideas just from watching our guests, and like Mona and also Jennifer. That was a lot of fun to watch Jennifer's office, and I've thought about more art in my office, and I'm going to get one of your art pieces in my office. I want to highlight your art piece because that will get me more connected during the day, which makes me have more love for the universe, right?
Well, you have one of my sound panels. Let's take a look. So
It is there.
So as far as showing your office, I'm going to go first. So here's my office.
Do it. I'm looking forward to it.
How's it going?
Good.
What's that?
Are you going to take a selfie?
Yeah, no, it's a 360 camera, so it takes pictures of everything. Watch, look.
Oh, how cool is that?
Not neat?
It's neat.
So I'm going to show everybody my office. I'm the dentist down in the basement. They put the dentist in the basement. They put the fancy dermatologist up high.
If I lived in this area, neck of the woods, I'd come see you. I love my dentist.
Oh, I'm sure.
I saw her yesterday, and I said, how many times can you say, I love coming to my dentist?
I'm sure she's a great dentist.
Oh, she is.
Oh, thanks.
She's great, and she's like 4 minutes from door to
Oh,
door.
perfect. Well, I'm going to show everybody else my office.
Well, that's great. I'll tell my friend Leslie, it's a great dentist here.
Thank you very much.
Very safe.
Bye. So I'm in the iconic Westlake Dermatology building in Austin, Texas. It's in Westlake, if you're familiar with that. And I'll give you a quick little tour. Beautiful building, great architecture, and an amazing entrance. I'm going to kind of go through the side door here. And the rotunda is just phenomenal. Amazing. So we're going to go down to the lower level because the dentists get put in the lower level. So we come out of the elevator, and we're going to come into Smile Designs. This is our waiting room. We keep everything very simple, try not to keep it too cluttered. Obviously, with the virus thing going on, we have less furniture in here. I keep all my pictures and things scrolling just so my patients know kind of what we're doing, and a little bit of advertising on my hobbies and also what we're able to do in the office. We have 1 to 2 people that work up front. I have actually a very small staff, team members actually. So we'll walk in. This is the hallway to the practice. Business office, door's locked. I'm not allowed to go in there for some reason. These are our 2 hygiene rooms. So they get a lot of activity. Bathroom. I'll go into the lab in just a second. This is an operatory I never use, so it's just for show. And then this is where we spend a lot of time. We do all our morning huddle meetings here. This is where I spend a lot of my time doing the ceramics. We separate the polishing, taking the sprues off, all to the right side, and on the left side is all the ceramic work. And then, of course, our prime scan, our prime mills. We do digital x-rays, but I still like my ScanX. You know, there's just times where that phosphor plate just fits better. I know the resolution isn't as good, but I want to see better pictures. So anyway, we do both. This is our sterilization. This is Steri Center from ADEC, which is really neat because it's all hydraulic based, so the doors pop up when you kick the button. Pretty cool. This is an overflow room that I use just for bite adjustments, things like that. And then these are the 2 rooms that I mainly use. The one on the left is mainly for simple fillings, restorative type things, new patients. The one on the right is my main operatory where we do all our onlays, crowns, our bigger cases, veneer cases. We have different cameras that we can film a lot of our work that we do. This big hole in the wall over here was a project I was supposed to do during the vacation, the virus vacation, but I never got around to it, so I'm kind of in the doghouse about that. But tomorrow, I'm going to get that taken care of tomorrow. So in the back of our office is the back of our training center as well. And so this is the Digital Enamel Education Center. We designed our practice to be along with our training center. We have multiple CEREC systems, and we do a lot of video here. Oh, this is funny. Sorry, it's kind of a mess. This is all my old endo stuff and some of our new endo stuff. I haven't done a root canal in a while, but I'm going to start doing them. Just starting to change, you know, starting to add some procedures to the mix. We always listen to country music during the day. It just makes it a little bit more fun. My team are very much into country music, and I'm not so much, but I can tolerate, I like it. But we got to make sure we keep everybody happy. In the back of the training room where the lecturer would be, we have 2 operatories, and then this operatory is where I'm doing the webcast. So I'll walk you back up through the front, digital enamel. All the artwork in here I did myself. I'm a graphics artist wannabe. So I used to sell these. These are sound dampening panels, which are super cool. They soak up sound. In my office, I'm getting it cleaned out because it was just too messy. So I'm getting some things organized. This is a picture I took in Big Bend National Park last year, and I just happened to be right in the middle of a bluebonnet explosion, which was really cool. And that's a picture of my motorcycle, which is pretty cool because BMW, Motorrad, the motorcycle division of BMW, picked it up. They're using it in one of their advertisements, which is fun. So I'm going to get 2 more to fill in that little void. There's my bathroom. We don't want to go in there. Picture of Austin that I took. And then the last little bit is our milling room and our ceramic room where we have in digital enamel. So we have multiple milling units, different firing ovens. I do use it as my construction area when I'm building shelves and stuff, but this is our home and where we do a lot of our videography. So, thank you. This is my office. Yeah, James, that was my office. What'd you think? You've been there.
Well, I've been there, but it's nice to been there again today. That was nice, Todd.
Thank you.
I love your creativity. I love the feeling in your office, your creative art, your flow, and your excitement of your passion. That's good. And I love your training center. Shout out to Todd, Digital
Thank you.
Enamel Training. Yeah,
as I was making the video today, I was thinking, some people are going to look at this and go, look at this over the top. How about my rent? What do you think my rent is? It is over the top. So don't be jealous. I gotta pay a lot of money for that rent. But my old office was just down the street about 3 miles, and I drive by it every day, and I can't help but look at it and go, those were some special memories. So if those dentists are just out there, you're just starting with your new practice, that could be the best time you've ever practiced. So
hey, Todd,
anyway.
Todd, you know what the name of my first office was? It was called the Termite Palace.
What?
Low overhead, though. It was really low overhead, but it's where I started for the first 10 years, and we had to always treat the termites because it was an older building, but it had character. And I still think about it because I totally remodeled the inside suite myself. That's when I had lots of energy. And no, I love your office. It's just a neat feel there.
Yeah, good.
I feel like I've been there again today.
You've been there many times. You should be back. I'm going to put the pressure on you to come teach aesthetic class.
Oh, I've always wanted to be Texan, and I've worked my way up there. I have the shirt, I have the Wranglers, I have the boots, I have the dog, I have the truck, and I'm working on more things.
You got to work on your slang and your accent. Cindy can help. Yeah, Cindy can help you with that. Just say.
I want to learn. That's in my genes because my mom's from Alabama. And I'm sure that in my brain chemistry, some memory flow there is if I were around Cindy a little bit more, I'd probably start talking like her. I'd never be pretty like her, but I could talk like her.
Well, let me give you the first lesson in Southern drawl, okay?
Yeah.
So there's y'all.
Y'all.
And then there's all y'all. There's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference. And
you have to raise your hand when you say that. All y'all.
Yeah, you have to talk with your hands. All right, let's
patients back into your treatment room. All y'all. It's time.
All y'all, come on in. That's right.
Time for a moment. Yeah.
All right, James. Let's give you some thoughts to our audience.
I'm feeling it, and this is a segue to our guest. We have incredible guests this evening, Jay Black and Frankie Acosta. And this is, when I think of them and what they've done in our profession to raise the bar, particularly with InLab, because I'm an InLab fan, so I'm a fan of both Jay Black and Frankie Acosta. This is by Benjamin Franklin. I don't know if you were young. I used to fly kites hoping that I could get the electrocuted, what he used to do. But he came up with this. He goes, without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success has no meaning. And what I found out today, and it was really encouraging because I did a Zoom class with everything we're going through right now, and I felt an energy to learn, and that fed me. And I'm really pumped tonight because I love that aspect of learning. And Frankie and Jay are all about learning because they are leading the world with the Dentsply Sirona InLab system. And they do a lot of, I don't even know how you guys survive at home because you're always on the road up until COVID. I mean, you guys, how much time are you guys on the road? Quite a bit.
Well, I'll let Jay start on that one.
Well, I used to be on the road a lot, and then ever since having my daughter in my life, and it made me reevaluate everything. And I kind of like to stay home now and spend time with her. And it's just life changing, and your values change, and the things that are important to you change. And so I really don't go on the road as much as I used to, especially when she was younger. But unless it's something with Frankie, we did meet online, and years ago. Yeah. And speaking of education, that's how we both met. When we first got the InLab system, there was really no education out there, and we had Facebook, and I would see this guy Frankie Acosta posting something cool on Facebook, and I was like, oh, that's cool. He's doing a PFM digitally milling this model out of like this little wood block, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I would post something, and then all our other friends would start posting something, and it was just great to be able to learn from each other along the way.
What a connection!
Go ahead.
Yeah, Frankie, tell us your view of this.
Yeah, no, I mean, bottom line, that's how it kind of started. At the end, I still do travel a lot and stuff, and do try to educate not just in the United States, but all over the place wherever they need me. My kids are older now, so they don't even know I exist sometimes. So
we know you.
I understand what Jay's talking about, but now for me, I don't have anything that has to make me stay at home. But to say what Jay's saying, to be honest with you, I was just sharing something with Todd, the other day. When we first got into in-lab, there was no education on the laboratory side. So I basically turned to Dental Town, back when I first started, because I couldn't really get any kind of, answers, especially if I was to ask my rep didn't know, because he kind of didn't really understand, what we did, in the laboratory side. So I'll never forget something. And that's where I look at, James Clem, and I look at Todd really, as my mentors and stuff, because in the beginning, that's where I got most of my education. I couldn't believe that we as lab owners had to go to Dental Town and had to ask how to use our freaking machine. So I'll never forget the first time I posted a problem, and I posted it on Dental Town, and Todd being Todd, he got on there and he said, hey, let me help you. It took him a couple of days because I'm sure he was helping the world, but at the end he told me everything I was doing wrong, and that basically sparked the rest of our education. Because when I got off the phone, when I read what Todd told me, I remember laying into my rep and saying, dude, I just spent $120,000 or whatever the hell it was, because back then we had to buy a dongle for like $25,000 or whatever the hell it was. Laying into them and saying, how come doctors, the CEREC doctors have so much education available to them, and we don't have nothing,
Right.
and so that kind of started the whole thing, because then Serona kind of looked at us and said, well, do something about it. And then I met Jay online, in a very nice way,
And the world has never been the same.
The world has never been, better.
That didn't sound right. You guys met online.
If I took this story, how right it's going to sound, but I didn't know the dude, right? So I invited him over to my house, and my wife looks at me and she's like, you don't know this dude. I'm like, hey, listen, at the end, if he tries to knock on my door, there's going to be a hole that's going to right through the door. He tries to get in there, it'll be over. So don't worry about it. But he came down, and I showed him what I was doing in my lab and the education, and the rest is history. And then we became really good friends, and this is what we do now. We try to help as many as we can, and to look back at even our mentors, like I said, both of you guys helped, and we just want to continue the same thing that you guys started.
Well, it's been great. I've watched both of you folks online. I feel like I know you better online than in person, because you have so much online. It's really been helpful to me, because I'm learning in lab as well. Todd, you were going to ask a question.
Oh, no, I was just going to make a comment. I don't know if you guys remember when you came to Austin and you did the lecture at the local branch. And I'll tell you, it was at a bad time in my life, as you may remember. It was not good. It was not a good time. And I don't know if you remember, but we went to Black's barbecue. What I appreciate about both of you is that at that moment in time when things were a little rough for me, you guys made me feel better. And what I love about this digital world, whether we're dentists, assistants, lab technicians, whatever,
yep,
there's a brotherhood. We have the opportunity to combine our resources in a way that patients actually benefit, and then we benefit spiritually. And you guys, you helped me out a lot that night.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Todd, I just had to look away here, because I'm doing a little discipline of my German Shepherd, because he's used to walking right now, and I told him I have more important people online, and he's obedient. But I had him lay down, and he was just groaning like he was a kid upset. But having said that, we're good. If you hear a dog noise, that's what it's all about.
Okay, I got to let me interrupt sorry, James. So Frankie, Nikki Acosta comes on and says, I made a Facebook just to see this. I hope you notice me.
There you go.
Who's Nikki?
Well, now that I'm all like flustered, yeah, that's my daughter. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
you know, it's
Oh.
funny. You know, she's graduating this year, and I'm really excited about, you know, that she's graduating. But, you know, I talked to her last night. I said, you know, what are we doing? And she's like, well, the school wants me to walk from one building to another, and then everybody honks their horn as I'm walking by and collecting my diploma. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, at least it's going to be memorable for the rest of her life that she graduated in a very strange time, right? So congratulations, Nikki. I'm very happy that you're watching. I'm not sure who you're hanging out with,
Kudos.
but, you know, now
Kudos.
I'm gonna send you a text and whoever it is.
Well, she says, I love you, Dad. That's what she
All
just
right,
said.
I love her too.
All right, well, good enough. She's
Oh, good.
put a lot on here. Go ahead, James. What were you saying?
know, in the green room, we were talking with Jay as we were searching for Frankie, not by his fault, but Frankie, we love you. But Jay, you mentioned that this week you're up and running, and you're pretty busy, aren't you? Why don't you tell us about that, and then Frankie, you can tell us what's happening down in what we call Southern El Paso. Frankie, you do know you're in Southern El Paso, but
Yes.
Jay, what's
sure.
going on this week in the lab?
Yeah, so we were on quarantine for like 45 days, and you know, I'd come in here with my sister, dad, and a couple of people, and my daughter, and handle some emergency cases. And May 8th is when Florida reopened for business, and some other states as well. And I was always in the back of my head thinking, you know, we had our best. January was our biggest month we ever had. February was our biggest month we ever had.
Yeah.
March was going to be even more. And then just everything just dropped out, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, but always in the back of my head, I knew, you know, things are going to be okay. Things are going to work out. And, you know, our first week back, we're almost 80% of where we normally are. So, I mean, there's cases all over the place. It's like nothing ever really happened. I don't know if it's a fluke or what, but, you know, we have all these cases coming in, and all my employees are working a full day pretty much. And it's exciting, and I'm happy. And, you know, I don't feel that weight, you know, on my chest that I used to have. And, you know, all of us are in it together. You know, I message, you know, Frank, Derek, Trey, Mike, everybody, all my friends, all my dental friends, and you know, throughout this whole thing, and everybody that I know, you know, is doing good right now. Seems like work is coming in, and it's very positive thing, and super excited. And I think Frank, you have the same thing going on over there.
You know, Jay, when you're talking about your success right now, there's a lot of love popping up into you on the screen.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot of people that love you. You know that.
Yeah, and I posted a picture the first day we came back, you know, of all these zirconia crowns, and you know, I didn't want to do it just to, you know, to be cocky or anything. I wanted to do it to show people, hey, work came in the first day we came back. You know, we did like 60 zirconia crowns that day, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And all my doctors you know, I texted them and called them throughout the whole thing and said, you know, what do you think? And they were like excited to come back, and patients were calling, wanting to get crowns done, you know, even though everybody's scared and not knowing what's going on, or, you know, if they have a job or if they're going to have as much money as they thought. But still, the first week back, you know, we had a lot of work, and it was, you know, very positive.
So what's happening in South El Paso out there on the coast?
In South El Paso, well, you know, the thing was, it was very similar to Jay. You know, we had just come off of DS World. We usually invest, you know, and have, you know, and so we launched, you know, digital dentures and stuff like that. So we were cranking. I mean, to be honest with you, just like Jay was saying, you know, in March, we were having our best month. We were gonna blow the water out of this, and the next thing you know, they announce it. Next thing you know, from one day to another, we're dead in the water. And like Jay says, you know, the first thought is, what am I going to do? You know, how am I going to do this? You know, we've set up our laboratory where we do have emergency funds that we can use and stuff like that. And one of the biggest fears that I had was to lose my team. You know, we were already overflowing, you know, with work in some ways. especially with digital dentures, prime scan, and stuff like that. 95% of our business is CEREC doctors, and then the other 5%, we don't work with conventional doctors. And so we knew that at that moment, if I lost my team, my team was kind of important because of the workflows that we were receiving. It took a lot of time to basically grow to what we want to be. So that scared me. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, okay, I panicked. I thought to myself, we got to close down. We got to, burn money. We got to do whatever it is that we got to do. But the next day I kind of went back and I told everybody, listen, we have some money, go home, relax, we're going to pay you. And that's that. And we didn't know about the PPP and nothing like that at that moment. And so we went and we said, okay, we can probably keep this going until the end of May, maybe the beginning of June. Next thing I know, it was me, my sister was at the lab. We were getting some emergency cases, because it's funny how emergency cases, when they say emergency cases, to be honest with you, some dude rolls into the office and says, I got a chip right here. Well, that's an emergency because he has a Zoom call the next morning. He doesn't want to smile with a little chip, right? So each emergency was different, right? But next thing I know, we entered this month, and so as our laboratories in as you say, South, Southern California, right? But our clients are all around the United States because that's all we cater to. So when states started opening up, we started to get really busy. But here in California, today was May 15th, so we brought in all our employees. We basically bought them pizza, told them that that this is us moving forward. To quote my good friend, Sasha Dervinesi, and I was talking to him one day. I said, and he said to me, this is not about being a Great Depression. It's about the Great Reset, right? How are we going to become stronger, and how are we going to be different? Our industry is going to change, but the reality is that we're going to survive in that change, and that's kind of what I look forward to. And I told my employees that, and I told them these are the plans, and this is what we're going to invest. And I'm going to be a DS World again, hopefully, a little bit bigger, better, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully it goes on. If it doesn't go on, well, then...
Frankie, you know what's special at the last DS World?
Yeah.
Your booth was right behind Todd's booth, so I was hanging out there learning about meal quite a bit. Plus, I was hanging out with Todd and his team. Yeah. But I have a lot of B-roll of you. But you know what I really enjoyed is that your mom and dad were there. Yeah. And your dad came over and we chatted and he introduced your mom. And I was looking at the energy of your family, your wife. And I have some great B-roll for you, and it's great B-roll. And I know I'm going to be using it real soon.
No, I got some great pictures with Todd too, and I got to tell you a little something, right? So the reality is, my friend. So my dad is a huge fan of yours, right? I mean, to the point that he actually in his bench, he has a picture of your work sitting in front. Oh, and I'm telling you right now, my dad does not have too many, people that he actually says, "Hey, that's a dude right there." And I'm not gonna lie, he has that sitting right there. And so shout out to my dad because I'm talking to the man. Both of you, again, I appreciate everything that you guys do for our industry.
I appreciate that. I take that very humbly because we're all on this quest to be the best we can and race each other up. So, Jay, tell us more about the workflow. I spoke with an office today with my teaching, and they've been open for 2 weeks, and they said they're up to about 85%. And what we're seeing across the country, and Todd, you can speak for that too. Todd said he's back 100% already, and they're working through this. So both you folks are really making me feel optimistic this evening about the fact that we're coming back, and it may be a really rapid comeback. Where do you see this going, Jay?
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. We have about 50% digital and 50% analog cases that still come in.
Okay.
And then, literally May 8th, my phone starts blowing up. I get all these Connect cases. My driver's calling me, say, "Hey, I got 15 pickups," and
wow.
We're just all so excited. And like I said before, dentists are calling me saying they have all these patients calling, and like a bunch of dental assistants or front desk would call me and say, "Hey, Jay, we have a pickup." They're all excited, and I really believe things are going to be good. And we don't even have all of our doctors open up yet, unfortunately, and we're still very close to getting to 100% of what we were doing before.
Wow, that's amazing. What has your lab done for the PPE? What changes have you made there?
Well, everybody has masks.
Mhm.
We pretty much didn't change a lot because we treated.
You're already doing it.
Yeah, we're already doing it. Just like before, we treat every case as this if it is infected.
Wait. So when you get a digital file in, you're checking like for viruses? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we have a virus detector on our.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to make sure.
There you go.
But seriously, I mean, this is a shout out why offices should be going digital. Right here
Yeah,
is that it's
right.
the best way to practice PPE.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in the office, the only thing that we really make sure that we do is when we box up the cases, we make sure that they're disinfected before. We wear gloves when we're boxing it up, and masks. But we've done this forever, just like you guys have treated every patient, as if they could be infected with something. So the main thing is we just say, hey, if you're feeling sick at all, don't even come in, and we'll still pay you. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about any of that stuff. But, we've, as labs and dentists, we've been doing this for a long time the same way, treating everything that it's infected. But I agree with you, digital impressions, man. That's all I love getting those beeps on my phone. Oh, connect case, or, trios case or whatever case. I don't care what it is. Digital is so much easier. I mean, me and Frankie always talk, we have no remakes with digital cases. None.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing?
Really? Can you talk about that, like on your evolution
sure.
from analog to digital and maybe your remakes, the percentage?
Yeah, I think we figured out like from analog impressions, it was like 3% remake.
Wow.
And digital, I mean, like I was thinking today, trying to think of the last case I had that was a remake from a digital case, from a digital scan. And I really can't think of any, and I was looking at my Connect, how many Connect cases we have done so far. We're up like 9,200 cases we've accepted. I know Frankie's probably like 100,000 or something. But no, digital, I mean, it's so easy. You don't have to send a driver out. We can immediately see the case right when it's sent. Patient can still be in the chair. We can tell the doc, hey, right away, you need a new impression before the patient leaves, or, and then immediately the doctor can mark their margins if they want to, because they just prep the patient. So why not just mark margins, and then we don't touch them unless we see that there's something wrong with them. And immediately we design it and can mill it out and can have that case done literally that day versus, having to wait for it to be shipped in. And it's just, years ago when I started 10 years ago, I hated my job. Like I hated it. It was, I hated going to work. I used to sleep here overnight because I knew I had to get up in the morning and do more work. Now I come to work every day. I love my job. It's always something different. And it's mainly, because of all the digital technology that we have, and everything's it's faster, more consistent, and it's just more fun, than we used to have doing it the old-fashioned way.
So why do you think there aren't as many labs that are getting in on the digital train? Why, if it makes 0 remakes and it's so easier, and obviously there's no viruses involved, why do you think there's some labs that are having a hard time getting involved, whether it's CEREC or any of the other systems? Frankie, what do you think?
I think in our world, if I go, I come from a long line of, dental, as Jay does, his father's a dental technician. I think it's hard to basically transition for some laboratories that are accustomed to doing one thing. Then all of a sudden you get presented with digital, and sort of it's a whole new beast, right? Because even to advertise to doctors or to try to pick up their business, it even becomes different, right? I remember being really young, and when I would sell for my dad and stuff like that, I would knock on the door, try to get by the front office, which was almost impossible sometimes, right? Because you guys trained them so well, don't let them in. But once you sat down, you actually sat down and waited for the doctor to come out, and it was always the same thing. You pulled out of your pocket a little model with some cases on it. you rolled up on the doc, you look at him and say, and then the next thing you know, he looks at you and he's like, well, how much? And then you're like, well, this and that, and you start talking about negotiating and da. But the conversation that basically we're used to as a laboratory talking to the doctors has totally changed. Now it's about education. Now it's about workflows. Now it's about being able to do things. In what other world can we actually, I got clients that are in Chile. I got clients that are all different parts of the world. And I basically can say that all of a sudden I get a phone call from a doctor in Chile and it says to me, hey, I got a patient sitting in the chair. I got a little problem here with, this bridge or whatever. What can you do for me? Oh, just send it to me real quick. Let me design it, send it right back to you, and then you can mill the chair side. Like that basically changes everything. But on the lab side, the laboratories have to be able to get educated to understand what the doctors want. It's not about me walking in and I have. It's me walking into you and saying, you have invested in this technology. I have invested in this technology. Now let's see how we can become one. And that's the reality that the laboratories out there have to not fight it. For the longest time, I was one that always heard, oh, CEREC sucks because they're trying to take away our business. Let's be realistic. But as people were sitting there saying CEREC sucks, I was sitting there saying, hey, let's go have a beer, and then we'll see what happens. Well, like Jay said, I'm already at almost 30,000 CEREC Connect cases, and I'm very, very happy because I will never go back. Right? For me, a doctor that I bring into my laboratory, it has to be a digital doctor. I even buy prime scans, and if a doctor locally, doctors around me, they don't know me. And if a doctor wants to do business with me, he's got to come into my world, and it's not the other way around anymore. That's just reality, Just keep it real. This is where we're at. And for Jay, with Jay, I understand what Jay's saying about redos and stuff like that. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, like hell, me and you, Todd. I had a case that I think broke on you, a 3-unit bridge that you were like texting me. I think I was at the bar at DS World going, and you said, bro, what are you going to do about this bridge? Things do happen. I understand. But to clarify a little bit of what we talk about redos is that the communication is so perfect, and I believe it 100%. The communication is so perfect between a CEREC doctor or a digital doctor and a digital laboratory that's, as Dr. Vasquez, me and Danny always say, we speak the same language, right? So if we understand each other, that workflow is beautiful. Me and James have done a case. We did a case that was like an all-on-4. And
hybrid.
Communicated. Now, one of the things I really loved about even the way James communicated with me was he was making videos, right? He's like, hello, Frankie. This on my case. Look at this. And he's like showing me. I've never in my life, and I started doing, digital. I started being a dental technician since I was probably like 5 years old. And I had never, ever been able to communicate with my doctors the way that I communicate with them on a digital level. Because now they become my friends. That's the bottom line. You know what I mean? And that's the reality that laboratories have to understand.
Yeah, that case was a lot of fun, and that just dropped. You actually helped me out on that because I was going through some steps that I hadn't done before, and you helped me out understanding some of the parts and how they work together. You even sent me a wrench to help me through it.
Yeah,
you did get the wrench back, didn't you?
I don't think so, but it's okay. You can have it.
I hope you charged.
I don't remember.
I think we sent the wrench back. I'm pretty certain. Now I'm going to think about that all weekend.
He's not going to be able to go to sleep. Just tell James you got the wrench back.
I got the wrench back, James. It's okay.
So, Frankie, since you're in California, have you started? What kind of percentage are you running now? Are your doctors starting to send you anything, or does it even matter?
You know what? With the number one thing that what I've noticed coming back, it's funny because my CEREC doctors, a lot of them do their own chairside stuff when it comes to single units and stuff like that. So I sort of get whatever they don't want to do, but they want to keep it digital, right? So one thing that I noticed right off the bat was surgical guides, right? Huge. The first day, Monday, coming to work. Next thing I know, it's blowing up. Hey, can I get the surgical guide tomorrow? I got this, I got that.
Oh yeah.
That was number one. Number two, digital dentures. It just started blowing up. I'm about to buy a Carbon just because we need to keep up with that workflow, right? And then number three, partials. Like all of a sudden we're getting partials because patients are walking in, they lose a tooth, they need a little flipper, right? So at the end, we're being able to scan it with the prime scan. I mean, come on. that's the most amazing workflow you've ever come across. And so what we basically noticed, especially on Monday, that was sort of like what ramped up. And then the next thing, zirconia started coming in, bigger bridges. We started probably like last week because some states opened up, and then they started really, sending us work. And so we this week we had the best week we've had since we closed.
That's man, you're only moving up, buddy. You're only moving up. That's good.
It's only gonna go uphill from now on, brother.
Hey, can you guys, since you guys are like the world-renowned gurus on digital dentures, I've got a couple of questions about it. I mean, can you just kind of describe how you're feeling about where we are in digital dentures? Is it still worth printing? Is the materials right? Where are you guys at on all this? Go ahead, Jay.
Okay. Well, we started doing digital dentures, and we were doing a few before this whole outbreak started. And, Frankie does a lot more than me. We're just Crown and Bridge Lab, but.
Well, then why did I ask you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, then I shouldn't have asked you. I don't know what you're doing.
No. However, we are starting to do digital dentures, and that's the only dentures that I'm going to do.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
It's digital dentures. Yeah. And I mean, it's really cool with this new software 20. Making a denture is very easy to do. We have some new IPN 3D teeth from Dentsply Sirona now that you can use, or you can mill out your own teeth. It's up to you. You can do it either way, which is really cool. So if you get a case where, hey, these particular teeth fit in there, we'll go ahead and use those. I used to be all about, hey, I just want to mill all my teeth, and then they had these new IPN 3D teeth that are shorter, and the software is really good where they fit into the sockets without having to do a lot of adjustments that I actually like versus milling. I like buying the teeth. The only problem is, when you mill the base, it does take, a while to mill. So that's why Frankie's saying, hey, we may need to print them, but, only a few printers out there can print a strong enough base.
That's the Lucitone, right? By Dentsply Sirona.
It's basically the 3D printed, denture that, it's stronger. I haven't really, I played with it, I've worked with it and stuff like that, but at the end, I haven't really put it into full production. So when we've been doing dentures, we've been actually milling the dentures and stuff. So to kind of go back a little bit on the question, for me, we sort of developed, because we were lucky enough to even beta test a little bit, the prime scan and stuff. And so it was more or less testing it on the laboratory side. What can we do with it, right? I can scan it, but now can we create and does it fit and stuff like that? So we decided like, hey, we've gotten really good results. Like I said, we own, at our lab, we have a couple prime scans that we purchased and stuff like that. And so we've done a lot of cases, a lot of all on fours, a lot of dentures. To be honest with you, printing is the way to go when it comes to, when it comes to the digital dentures. Prime scan, I have yet, look, when you're scanning a lower jaw, at the end, scanning, taking an impression, whatever you want to do, if there's a lot of moving tissue, you're always going to run across problems. But then you create the workflow where you scan it, then you create something, and then maybe you take a wash impression, control everything, and then you go. So you could run across those problems. But I'm doing about 40 dentures a month right now, and all of them are from prime scans. I don't accept, again, my laboratory, it's not that, okay, so let me rephrase that. We don't accept doctors that don't have scanners, right? So, but once they have a scanner, then I got to walk them through, and some of them are like, okay, well, I'll just take an impression and send it to you. Well, we will accept those impressions, but then we try to convert them and tell them, look, take a scan, send it to us, and this is what we're going to try. And a lot of them have tried it with great success. Again, the lowers are always a hit and miss, but lowers are a hit and miss even if you're taking your conventional impression. It is what it is. But to be able to have the material like the Lucitone available to us, the problem is, of course, you got to go through carbon, which is not a problem.
I have a question about the Lucitone. Why through the carbon and not other like a Sega? Is it just what is it, proprietary relationships, or what is it?
I don't know about the politics behind it, right? But I do know one thing. So we have this awesome material, okay, and that awesome material has to be run through systems, right? And I believe, and this is my opinion, not to say that I'm saying it in fact or anything like that. I believe that it ran through the carbon, it works through the carbon, and at the end, this is the way that they're going to present it into the laboratory world. And so, if you want to play, then you have to do it that way. Whether or not that's going to be like that in the future, I have no idea.
Okay, but not to get into the detail of that, because I know I did a few printed prostheses that broke, and I refurbished them and sent them to you and had you. I think you've done 2.
I think so. Yes.
And so what I did is I glued the prior prosthesis back together, did a wash, scanned it with my Prime scan, did a 360 scan, and sent it down to you, and you pretty much made it and sent it to me, and I just dropped it in.
Yeah.
So
send it right back, and that's the reality. The reality is that when we talk about materials, we've tried all different kinds of materials, and so if we talk about a good material that's for long lasting, 5 years, whatever their terms are. It is the best in the business that I've seen. And again, I can't say for all the materials because I don't know all the materials, but I can say that I've dropped a denture that I printed with from a NextNet material, and that thing shattered like glass. So that was maybe over a year ago, but I think that we're moving on, and I think that that's the next phase of digital dentures.
Yeah,
digital.
Everything evolves with time because Lusitone is really special to me because we were using it, and I was making my own dentures in dental school, Yeah. And, even when I graduated, I made my own dentures for quite a long time just because I'm that way. I like the craft of it. So it's really interesting to see the Lusitone coming back on there. So, Jay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious. I know we can use a combination of analog and digital. Why couldn't you print the wax pattern for the burnout so you could cast the denture material traditionally?
So technically you can, right? But that would not be the ultimate goal. I think that the ultimate goal is that you either design something or you duplicate something, right? So like perfect example is what James was saying. James says, well, okay, I have a denture. Now let's put it all together. Now scan it and send it. Well, as long as I have it, I can duplicate it, and then I just need proper.
Oh, I see.
It's seamless. Yeah. You know what is amazing? I hardly had to touch it.
Yeah.
Because I took a wash impression with it in, right? So and I've done another digital denture where I still print my base plate from my initial Prime scan. I do my border molding. Mm-hmm. I do a wash impression, and then I take that with the bite rim on it. Boom. Yeah. And then you can actually print just a try-in. Right? So you can actually print the try-in for us just so we have it all down, and then you just process the final one.
And sometimes for the wash impression, it's not really like, okay, but here's an example. If you're scanning a patient, an edentulous patient, you're going to get all the root guys, you're going to get all the landmarks and stuff. Well, the reality is that we have a denture that maybe a patient's been wearing for, let's say, 20 years, right? And now it's all of a sudden it's worn out. The inside's really smooth, and so it's really loose in the mouth. The wash impression in a digital workflow doesn't really mean that I need to use that as my impression. I'm scanning the edentulous, right? Once I scan the edentulous, that becomes my master model. The only thing I need that wash impression for is because we need to basically take that impression and virtually seed it on top of the edentulous scan, right? So the wash impression gives us landmarks, but the base will always be from the scan of the edentulous arch.
I'm still old-fashioned because I like to control the displacement of that junction between attached and unattached tissue.
And you can use that in the digital.
Right. And so, Well, so Jay, where are you going with this printed process? Are you going to get the carbon and lucite?
Well, I'm going to send it to Frankie if he's going to get the carbon, and he's going to print.
We're going to send them all to Frankie, so we don't have to buy the carbon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we've been doing digital dentures, even since InLab 18, just tricking the software and using multi-layer gingiva, and so we've been doing them. But it's just mill time. Mill time takes a while, and if I had a carbon, I'd get right into. I'd hire a denture tech, and I would start doing it, right away. It's just printing will be the way to go, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to be sending Frankie some stuff to do.
I'm just feeling a lot of love between you two guys right now. That's great.
Hey, that's a brother to me right there. So,
Yeah, for
Hey, so we've got time has flown. We're already near an hour.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It seems like it's just been a few minutes with you guys.
Yeah. No, you guys have been great. Why? Will you guys come back? Will you guys come back on?
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to
For sure.
continue this conversation about digital dentures.
You know
It's
what
pretty
would be
intriguing.
fun in the future? Let's have a special series where maybe we
Yeah.
can introduce what they're doing in digital dentistry and how that can integrate and amplify. I know Frankie actually has milled me a few splints. And of course, I'm getting my X5 because I have control issues. Not because I don't love you guys, but I just want the X5 because I teach a lot of prosthodontists in my classes, and dentists as well, and they're getting the X5. So I have one question for you guys because both you guys have both the MCXL right and the X5.
Sure.
How do you guys mix that back and forth for processing your digital restorations?
Good question.
So we have probably about the same. I have 3 MCXLs and 3 MCX5s, and we do all our EMAX on our MCXLs. And our MCX5s, pretty much is zirconia, surgical guides, temporaries, wax. And what's great about it is that you can interchange it. So you can mill some zirconia, and then, hey, I need to mill a temporary or something wet, and literally you can just do it right away. You don't have to change anything out. Or
is it more of a speed factor for you?
Yeah,
and turn around. Yeah.
Yeah, for EMAX, it's 10 minutes on the MCXL versus 40 minutes on the MCX5.
Sure.
But you could put 6 in at night if you wanted to in the MCX5, and it'll, there's 6 spots for the block. So if you wanted to do that overnight, you could.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Frankie?
the same, for us, it's funny because we actually built an operatory in our education center, right? And so a lot of doctors actually come to, they call me up and they say, hey, I got a patient, can I bring it in? And then we'll work and stuff like that. So what I do notice is that for EMAXs, right, there's only one way to go, and that's an MCXL. For like Jake said, wax, dentures, all on 4s, all that stuff, you definitely need the bigger ones. But when it comes to something fast, speed, we offer that same day, smile as you guys do, chairside. There's nothing better than MCXL. And that's what I look at. I mean, to be honest with you. So like Jay, I have four MCX5s and I have 3 MCXLs. And to be honest, I still have my one that I bought 10 years ago, and it still cranks out a good tooth.
I have a special name for mine that's old. Yeah, I think it's 12 years old. Her name is Martha.
There you go.
Good old Martha.
It just sounds good. Maybe it's a biblical name, and I'm a Bible person. Hey, but I have a question for you because I always tell people I like my 4-engine MCXL because when I use the extra fine mill, I call it a pressable mill. And I spoke on that at the last AACD because that's where everybody gets their gripes. Because I do feather margins, I do prepless veneers with that. And when the extra fine came out, it's amazing of what I can mill at 50 microns, a feather margin, and no chipping, even with EMAX.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. And that, to go to what you just said, I'll take it to another level. A lot of this is something that I find sometimes when I go to laboratories. They'll look at me and they'll say, well, with pressing, this is better because X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden they show me somebody's prep, right? Well, yeah, I can't prep a feather edge margin. Well, a feather edge margin is not something that looks like whatever the hell on this corner over here, and all of a sudden it curves around and it does this and that. A feather edge margin should be a feather edge margin. So if you have a good feather edge margin like this, that basically something draws on top, you can mill it. It's about pressing. You're going to have the same problems with pressing if you have a margin that looks like this.
Yeah.
Let's be real. You know what I mean? And so at the end, MCXL has always been our workhorses, and I love them. And, and I will defend that until, the end of time. I'm not going to lie, especially with this.
You're good.
Hey, Frankie, we want the end of time to be a long time from now. I hope you know that.
I'm going to name mine. I got to find maybe James could be my first one, Todd, the second one, third, I'll call it Jay, maybe, I don't know. But to be honest with you, My first meal, I basically will say anything. One of the things I do love about digital dentistry, it goes back to what Jay said, is that with digital dentistry, the doctors that have these meals, I prefer. A lot of people say, why do I want a doctor that has a meal? No. You basically have that doctor have a meal because at that point, he's going to realize how to prep because he's got to make this thing fit. And the only thing that you're going to get from that doctor is a lot of perfection because they will look at you and understand exactly what it is that you need to do it. I love when a Sarah doctor has a meal.
Hey, Jay,
what do you have to say?
Frankie, I want you to look at the camera and look at me with your eyes right now because we're going to connect in a special way. I love you guys because even though we do a lot of our restorations, when we get in trouble, you're really important to us. Hey, so we got to wrap this up. Jay and Frankie, why don't you go first, Jay, and give some love and encouragement to the offices out there that are coming back. And I think you've encouraged us this evening because just the fact that you're busy, that's a reflection of what's really going on out there. So why don't you just take a few moments and wrap this up with us? Jay, why don't you go first and then Frankie?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the most important things I think is your staff and to make sure your staff knows that you think they're important. And, I'm very lucky to have a great staff and, I can leave and not stress about what's going on at the lab. And I encourage all, the lab owners to really train your staff to what you really want things to come out as, that way you can work on your business more and not stress out about, if things are going to be going wrong or not. I'm real positive and excited about this year. I was a little scared, for a little bit there, like everybody else. And, I don't feel that anymore. Like I feel great. I don't feel I have that weight on my chest. Like I did. I'm excited. I'm happy again. Just seeing all that work come in and see all my employees happy and excited. And, I'm ready to go. And, if anybody needs anything, me and Frankie are always there for them, coming back if you have any issues. So I think let's do this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end, it's about like I said, the great reset, right? We're resetting and try new things. The non-digital laboratories should go digital and try it. Why not? What else do they got to lose? They basically started over anyways, right? So make it happen. I see my doctors. I talk to my doctors. And my doctors are excited just to get back. That's the problem. That's the thing about our country, right? We'll never be put down. We got to basically always move forward and expand and create and make this, country awesome, And so I think that this is what you're going to see moving forward, to be honest with you. I see it from the doctor side, I see it from the laboratory side. That's just reality. So
yeah, how blessed are all of us to be in the dental field? I mean, it's a great. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You guys are a great friend of ours, and we're going to have you on again for sure. You guys were awesome. We've got some of our best comments and views through some of them that I couldn't put up because. Oh, by the way, your Mildred was watching. I just want. Your mom was watching, so she's very proud of her little boy. Very good. All right, guys. You guys.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. You guys are amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I knew they were going to be good, James. I told you.
Here's the deal. I didn't really let it out why I'm getting the InLab in X5 because I've always wanted to be part of their group. You see their pictures on Facebook, Daniel Vasquez and them. Yeah. It's like they're the crew going around the world, though I can't travel like I used to. I want to hang out with those guys because I'm going to learn a lot from them. So I'm investing in an X5 and going to InLab just so I can be part of their group. I hope they're hearing this because I want an invitation. Yeah,
they're very good. Yeah, and I'm gonna reach out to Daniel Vasquez to come on and have him on our show soon enough.
So Danny Vasquez, you're coming on, buddy, because
hopefully you're out there.
Part of the crew. Yeah.
You know, what I learned through all this is that we are a big community, and on Facebook for the last, 2 months through all this virus vacation that I've been calling it, it's all about the dentist, and it's all about the PPE, and it's all about the PPP loan and all these other things that's negative, negative, negative. And I've always been kind of concerned about down the stream, and those are the dental labs, the dental manufacturers, the salespeople, and guys like them are going to be the leaders that drive dental labs in a way that they're going to be successful. And I hope any dental lab out there that's watching takes note for the attitude and the kind of things that they're trying to do in their world, because you need to do the same. Okay, I'm done preaching.
I'm passionate right now because you know what this did to me? I'm going to have a better weekend because of Jay and Frankie. You know why?
Amen.
They have basically identified what's happening in the profession because they're the test. And the fact that they're up and going this fast tells us a little bit what to expect for in the future. So, Jay and Frankie, thanks for giving me a better weekend.
Yeah, amen. All right, so we are going to be back Sunday night, so you guys watch out for that. James and I are going to review a lot of what's happened over the last 2 months and where we're going to be headed into 2020 and 2021. So make sure you stay tuned for Sunday night. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
Love you guys. Stay safe. Stay positive. It's a good time to be living.
Amen.